Hello, folks, and thank you for joining me today to look at R2 Web. Access anytime from any browser from any location. What is R2 Web? It's R2 in a browser. Access R2 from anywhere directly through your favorite browser. Forget the Windows login to R2. RDP is no longer required to connect to R2. You'll have improved access to programs such as Microsoft Word and Excel, as all of those are accessed directly from your own desktop. Native printing is also supported through the browser, which means all R2 printouts are saved to your desktop for fast and easy access. Let's talk about security. R2 Web supports single sign-on, or SSO. This lets you bypass your R2 login by automatically sending the password from your Windows Active Directory to R2. Windows Active Directory is federated with your R2 user very simply by its email address. R2 Web is further designed to secure your access with an HTTPS URL. And for an extra dose of security, an external multi-factor authentication software such as Duo or Okta can be used in conjunction with R2 Web. Now, if you thought R2 was fast before, you should see it on R2 Web. Without the Windows RDP client, R2 Web's overhead is reduced, with performance increases upwards of 20%. Clustering, or grouping of multiple R2 servers together, allows your R2 Web to load balance large numbers of users across those servers. Clustering also provides instant disaster recovery for application servers. If a server does go down, users will be routed to the remaining nodes for seamless uptime from a user perspective. R2 Web provides an authentic and seamless feel of running an application from within a browser. Because you're working within a browser, there's no traditional sys tray to access other open screens. We've come up with a fairly clever version of our own sys tray for the same convenient access you're accustomed to. Advanced users may opt to pop out any R2 window into its own browser tab, or even operate entirely from a tablet. Allow me to show you how R2 Web works. I'm starting with a standard Edge browser, though you can use your favorite. My R2 Web URL is saved as a bookmark for quick and easy access. I'll go ahead and click on that way up at the top left here. Now, the first screen that I'm going to be met with is my login screen. If you have single sign-on set up, then you'll only need to click a button to pass your credentials to R2. Let me go ahead and log in the traditional way. Now, if you're like me, you can appreciate as large a screen view as possible. So I come up to the address window here, and I tap the F11 button, which gives me a full screen mode of R2. Now, after logging in, I see the usual launch pad that gives me access to the application. Now, since you are all veterans of R2, I'll focus on a few of the other key benefits to using R2 Web. First, how the custom sys tray provides immediate access to any open window in R2, how printing works, and finally, the window pop-out feature. I'll illustrate how the sys tray works by opening up a few orders. Let me jump into my account module and bring up a customer. Now, I'll go ahead and open up my first order. And if I were really busy today, I'm going to have to minimize this as I go and access other orders, perhaps from the same or different customers. Now, you may notice that all of the orders are opening up in full screen mode. So one way to access orders that are behind this screen is to simply minimize it. But there's got to be a better way, you ask yourself, and there absolutely is. Draw your attention down to the bottom left side here. This orange V6 button is our sys tray. So we added this here so that you'd be able to easily navigate around the system once you open up more than a few windows. So from here, I can very easily toggle to any of the other orders that I have open, or even back to my main account screen, or even the R2 Launchpad. Now, since I've got an order open, let me show you how the printing works in R2 Web. I'll click on the printer button at the top of this order. I get my standard view of the printer options. I'll go ahead and choose one of the forms that I have, and I'll print it to Acrobat Reader. Now, when the file is ready for printing, it's going to give me a notification at the top of my browser and let me know that it's ready to be viewed. You'll see that pop up at the top here. And one of the options I can do is I can go right to the folder where this is, or you can even just click on the file here to preview it. All of the downloads are coming directly to my local desktop into my favorite folder, which happens to be my downloads folder, but you can configure it to whatever you like to see. Now I'm viewing the selected print template on my desktop here. I could also print it, but I could also email it directly from R2, even through R2 Web. Now that I've closed the print preview, the last thing that I want to touch on today is the Windows pop-out feature. This is a great feature for R2 Power users or simply folks who just want to spread things out on their desk for a little bit of elbow room. Let me start with this scenario. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this order, and I'm going to open up my order search screen. Now, let's say that I want to keep my order search screen on a completely separate monitor, or even just move it away so that I can keep it open through the duration of my R2 usage. Now, I've opened up my search order screen here, and if you'll notice this up arrow over at the top right, this is by my minimize and my maximize buttons. It's a little up arrow, and what that does is it takes this screen that I'm looking at, and it actually breaks it out into its own browser tab. Now, once that's opened, I'll go ahead and show you what's behind the scenes here. Up at the top, you can see that I've got my regular R2 instance on the first tab, and on the second tab, it's just my search orders function. Just to illustrate this a little better, I can break this out and even move this on to a completely separate screen if I want. And by simply closing this window or closing the search orders screen, it's going to collapse that back down into just the one browser tab or just my one R2 instance here. Let me summarize a few of the key benefits. Quickly and easily connect to R2 from a PC or Mac without any special apps. Fewer resource requirements equates to a faster R2 experience. Single sign-on and MFA compatible with the highest levels of security. Local access to your resources, such as network printers and applications like Microsoft Word and Excel. And a robust back-end support that has the potential to replace other publishing applications. For further questions or even a demonstration, please contact sales@unibiz.com. Thanks again.